Hey, guess what? We're live on Facebook.
Ooh.
Right now. We're streaming. We're getting better at this. It's only taken a year to get on the ball. But anyway, all right. So hello, everyone. This is Kiersten with Fox Pointe Publishing. We are coming to you with the 6th Fox Talk Facebook Live. We do this the 2nd and the 4th Tuesday evenings of each month. And can you believe it's March 23rd? Blow me away. I'm still back in December in my world, but okay. So if you have been watching us on all of the different things, or if you haven't, you know that we have 6 wonderful people that are a part of Fox Pointe Publishing with us every time we do this. And we get to chat with all of them. And in the chat box, in order for us to know that you guys exist out there and are watching, you have the opportunity to ask any one of us a question. And I will go through and explain and introduce everyone here. But if you ask a question, that puts you in the running to win a book. So what we are doing, what we are giving away tonight is The Sand Dancer. This is by Lydia Emma Niebuhr. She is the lovely lady in the red, is that shirt, pullover jacket? Well, she's the only one wearing red. She's now waving at us. And anyway, this is one of her first books here. The first of the Thad Wheeler Detective series. It's a cozy mystery series. Then another book we're giving away is Bobby Bear Becomes a Big Brother, and that is by A.J. Sullivan. Down, okay, got a wave. She's in an orange peach, there you go, shirt. And then we're also going to give away a copy of Jelly Beans, and this is actually my first kids book that is coming up on about 2 years old. June will be the 2nd birthday for it. And if I can get, if I can get Chelsea to hold still, we might actually have a coloring and activity book that goes with it in June. We'll see where that goes. She's busy. Anyway, all right. So getting off onto explaining everyone or introducing everyone, we have, well, on my side, so it's probably over here. Well, whatever. We have Lydia Emma Niebuhr. She, like I said, has the Thad Wheeler Detective Cozy Mystery series. Although it's not a series, it could be a standalone, but the theme runs through there as well. She'll, yep, there we go, Sand Dancer. And if you find her on Facebook under author Lydia Emma Niebuhr, you'll see all of her different books, and then also on our website. And then she has one children's book coming out. It is called I Am Perfect, and she's got the printed cover. There we go. There you go. That is being, that went in for a proof. I Am Perfect went in for a proof last week. And I hear that it's supposed to be slated for the end of April. So give it a few more weeks and it'll be out on bookstores and shelves and available for, actually it's available for pre-order right now on our website. Okay, the next person underneath Lydia Emma is A.J. Sullivan. Boy, okay, she does the Bobby Bear series and she's got 2 Bobby Bears out right now. The third one starts tomorrow with Kayla Olson-Surface that you also see on here, who's right now doing a cameo from the Mall of America.
Yes.
So that's why it's so echoey behind her. But anyway, so Bobby Bear graduates from kindergarten. I was about to say goes to kindergarten. Now graduates from kindergarten, comes out about the end of May-ish, June-ish, somewhere in that ballpark. So that's coming up really soon. She also does Finkel and Franny, and she's got, yep, do you have that there? Oh, perfect, thank you. And she's got another series, a YA series about girls who do STEM projects and stuff, Sunny with Freckles. And I don't know where you are in that whole, where are you in that whole lineup?
The first one's about halfway done.
Oh, well, there you go. So yeah, Sunny with Freckles. And then she's been writing for about, what, 36, 37 years, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And she has 4 big file cabinets, 4 doors each tall, filled with manuscripts. So she's got everything. Adults, YA, beginning chapters, kid books, you name it, she's got it. All right. To the other side of me, which is probably that way on the screen, is Regina Noel Downing. She has got her first book coming out on May 5th, right before, oh yeah, she's got the proofs. I don't even have the proof. Let's see the proof. I haven't seen it. perfect. You can do some, yep, flip through it. There you go. Very good. Regina, she is a vocal coach, a music teacher and educator, the whole routine. And she's got this little story, this little jingle. We'll have her tell us about it that she came up with. She put it to music. She wrote the music for it. The music is included in the book. She's got a whole series on this. It is going to be big. It's going to be big. Miss Regina is going to fill us in. All right, Kayla Olson-Surface, who on my screen is right below, who's at the Mall of America right now. She is our illustrator who is probably in a couple months coming up on a 1 year. I have been teasing Ray about this, so I'll give you a $5 gift certificate to McDonald's. You can go get a shake and some fries. It's on the house. It'll be great.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, Kayla has, she does the Bobby Bear series. She just finished illustrating a book for me called Scout, which should be out in May. And yeah, she does a lot of stuff. She does a lot of Helen's stuff and Paula's stuff, some of Paula's stuff. She's busy, put it that way. And then one more person is Zach Farr. He is actually, he is one of our sales crew. We are, Fox Pointe books are really only available through Fox Pointe. We're all set up for wholesale, the whole kit and caboodle. And we have actually 5 different sales reps right now for the US, and they're busy contacting libraries, and they'll be starting to do independent bookstores here and then the chains and all that other good fun stuff. Anyway, Zach is heading up the Northeast, up the New England, from about Ohio, Pennsylvania on up through Maine. And so we're going to start keeping him busy, especially once summer break shows up. He's in college right now. Anyway, all right, so that is everyone there. We have one other person on here. I call him the Wizard of Oz, mainly because he works from behind the counter, the curtain. His name is Brad. He is our IT guy, and he makes this happen. So we're going to get going here. We're going to first start having everyone chat. And if you guys can put in the chat box a question for any one of us. Lydia Emma is an author. Regina is an author. Zach is into sales. He's also into acting if you want to ask him anything about that. He's my little thespian. Kayla is an illustrator. AJ is an author. I am an author, a publicist. Basic troublemaker, you know how it goes. Anyway, so we're going to wait for questions and we'll get first started here. So let's see, who has the first book out the most soonest? Probably Lydia Emma. All right, talk to us about I Am Perfect. Or, oh, I can talk about Sand Dancer too, your choice.
Okay, Sand Dancer, first of all, I should tell you that my background is not in this type of writing. All my background for 37.5 years was scientific. I was a chemist, and you know, scientific reports are very factual. This is what happens. So I will have to give my editor here, Raven Ekman, a lot of credit, because she's going, but you got to put some feeling in this, you know. So this book is probably a third bigger now than it was when I first published it. I published it, self-published it, and then I took it off, and Fox is helping me do it. But I think I've come a long way with Raven's help. So we have, this is the first one that's out in the series. The carryover character in this book is Thad Wheeler, the detective. The book that's going to be coming out next is called The Hitchhiker, and he is again the detective in that. And there's a third book that is already written and is in the editing stages. It's called The Badge. And I won't tell, well, I wasn't going to tell you, but the fourth book is already about fifth written. When I don't have to be editing anything else, I do find time to write that. And so that's what mainly I was doing. But prior to the Sand Dancer, I wrote middle grade reader books, and I have a few. I'm just going to show you. These are still on Amazon. I wrote 11 of them. This one is called Summer's Addict. This happens to be the only one that the main character is a girl, and that was written because one of my loyal little readers wanting to know why I never made a book with just a female hero or main character. most of the 11 books that I wrote for middle grade addressed issues that kids in that age had to face. One is actually two friends, and one of them gets cancer, which never ever is mentioned in the book, but the kids I think can figure out. There's one on bullying. There's one on the prospect of his parents getting divorced. There's one that has come through the I can't think of it. He was not, he was in the system as a I can't even think of it.
Foster child.
Foster child, that's what I was saying. The foster child system, he was in that system. So they were all kind of addressing issues that these kids face. But in each case, I always advertise these books as not having any foul language, never any violence, no parents beating up a child or anything like that, no guns, no drugs, nothing. These were strictly fun to read books for that age group. And after 11 of those, then I switched. I did write a historical fiction. I'm from central Minnesota. And I grew up in the area where the Minnesota-Dakota conflict happened. And that whole story of the Indian conflict intrigued me all my life, because I was 20 miles from where it happened, and the history was all around me. So I've written that one, and that one I hope to get published here one of these days to have it come out. But then I started Sandancer, and Sandancer was actually started out as an assignment in a community ed class. It was called Writing for Publication, and I wrote that, and then I just expanded it into that book, and then, like I said, with Raven's help, it got to be a better book. And then I liked the characters. So in each book, one character carries on. So from the Sandancer, there's a character from, the detective goes into the next book. But then in the next book, the hitchhiker, there's a character that carries on into the badge with that. And it's going to keep doing that. So keep them connected. But you don't have to read them in a series. They are standalone books. So then one day, I mentioned to Chelsea or someone that I wrote this kid's book once, and and they said, "Oh, send it." I think I told Kiersten that, and she says, "Send it to Chelsea," which I did, and that's this one called "I Am Perfect," and it's for younger kids. If you're not the same as everybody in your class, that's okay, and it's 6 examples of kids that were not the norm, so to speak, and how they became successful, how they made good in their lives. And so it's a book that I want parents can read, and even early kids can read and feel good about themselves. Well, I'm just like that. I can do something like that. I can find something that makes me special. I want kids to know that no matter what they look like, where they come from, whatever, they are special, and they can prove that. So that was the reason I wrote that, and I wrote that long time ago. And like AJ, I have manuscripts all over the place, because as I was working, I wrote, because I would be away from my family for a week at a time doing projects. Fortunately, they were all saved on 5-inch floppies. Fortunately, I had printed them all out on my dot matrix printer and had them stored. So when it came time to when I retired from being a chemist, I could just go back to my file and just retype them, which was my first edit of the book. So that's how that all started. But I've got stacks, but right now I'm more interested in writing the cozy mysteries. I've moved into that thing. And so I probably said more than I needed to, but.
Oh, no, you're fine. I mean, you've got wonderful stories about sitting in coolers and writing on pallets and all that other good fun stuff. And actually,
this was my very first one. It's called The Phantom of Cherry Hill. And
okay.
This book, it's about 4 friends, and it's the only one that I kind of put in some science fair trick kind of things to do this. But that was the first one that I wrote from start to finish, and it was in a project. I was on a project, in a plant in Davenport, Iowa, and I had to watch a centrifuge, and I had to keep there in this cold room where it was. I didn't have time to go to the front office to warm up ever. So the guys put a pallet on the iron rack, racks that they have in the storage. And sometimes they'd run hot water on the floor so the steam would come up and help me out. But I had this little brown notebook, and the Hormel company always gave them to us and said, here, make your notes in here. Well, I started writing that book, and before that week ended, I had the whole thing written in that book, just in that little book. So that was my first, and it was so much fun, I decided to do more.
And you got back from your business trip and they're like, all right, let's see your notebook. What'd you learn? And you're like, no.
No, they didn't do that. They didn't do it. And see, because partly at that time when that project was, and this is kind of unbelievable for a lot of people who know the Hormel company is a meat company, a food company. But for 17 years, in the middle of my 37 and a half years with them, I developed cosmetic ingredients.
Oh.
To be sold to cosmetic companies.
Huh. I did not know that. Learn something new every day.
Right. I have a lot of history. I mean, here it might be boring you, but when I was hired, I was the third woman on what they used to call a management payroll to be hired. Okay. Shortly, within about 3 years, the other one retired and the other moved away. So for most of my Hormel career, I was the #1 senior woman on the management payroll.
Okay.
Now, that's fine and dandy until you go and ask for maternity leave. When all the previous management people were men and no one ever asked for one. They had no policy for me.
Oh, wow.
That's my niche in Hormel history.
Well, there you go. All right, for the people working, oh my gosh, for the people watching this evening, if you want to start asking questions of either Lydia Emma, myself, Regina, Zach, Kayla, or AJ, the first question up is going to win the Sand Dancer. And this really is a good book. I have read it. I have enjoyed it. I did a little proofreading on it, and then I read through it. And so I am looking forward to the next book, The Hitchhiker. And I was going to point out, Lydia has got, so she put out republished The Sand Dancer last November. She's got The Hitchhiker coming out, I want to say the end of April. She's got I Am Perfect coming out the end of April. She's got the historical Dakota, Minnesota book coming out end of June, something like that. She's got the badge. I don't know I know the badge will come out this year, this much I know, but we've been revamping our editing schedule because there are a lot of, holy monkeys, we're busy. And there's a lot of things and the editing, which I'm not in that department, but I hear things about like 5 different edit stages and whatever. And so needless to say, that is making me get myself ready for when I put my next novel in, because it'll go through the gauntlet and I'm not looking forward to it, but it's a neededness. It's a necessary evil, editing. There you go. But she's got.
I would like to add one thing for those who can see me on the screen and notice that it says Harriet on the bottom. That's my real name. I chose to use a pen name, which are my 2 middle names and my maiden name, to keep my writing separate, because when I retired, I was still known kind of in the cosmetic field because I did a lot of presentations. And so it was to avoid the conflict of it. Plus I decided if my relatives didn't like what I was doing, then they wouldn't know who, they wouldn't know who I was.
They'd probably figure out at least your maiden name. I mean, at least that side of the family would probably figure it out. But yeah, Lydia Emma's got at least 4 books coming out in 2021. She's a busy little monkey, is what she is. And hopefully all of us will. Lydia, are you going to be up at the Hackensack August 14th?
I haven't signed up for it. I don't know. I've got the patient upstairs who's going to have another knee done sometime this summer. So I
Okay.
can't commit to that right now.
So probably not.
Probably not.
Well,
No.
that's okay. If she's not there, I will have both of their books, and the person upstairs who's having a knee replaced, his book comes out the end of May 20th. It's about World War I. It's a historical nonfiction.
Right.
So they got a lot of writing going on in their house. All right, we don't have any questions yet. Y'all have to jump on board and ask some questions. All right, the next person we're going to talk to is, let's see, we'll go to Regina. Regina, you can tell us all about Give a Little Snuggle.
Okay. What do you want to know first?
Start from the beginning. No.
Okay. So, okay, from the beginning. So I wrote this book as a song first, a couple of years ago for my son in a heated moment. So my son was 8 at the time, having just a meltdown. I don't remember why or what had happened, but I remember being really frustrated that I couldn't help or stop the tantrum or whatever. You know, parents, we go through that. There's times when it's best to let it go and let it ride out. And then there's times when it's good to intervene. And, you know, as a parent, you kind of figure out when to let it go and when not. And I didn't feel like I could let this one go. And so I just started singing. I just threw some things out there, and you know, it started, if you're feeling blue and don't know what to do. I don't even remember it now. I've got a thing or two that just might see you through. And then I just went through all of these actions, like tickling and snuggling, and it all worked into the song. And before long, he was laughing and snuggling with me, and he was singing this little ditty I'd come up with. And, you know, the world was right again. And then the next morning, both of my kiddos were singing that song as they were getting ready for school. And then I caught my daughter singing it to one of the dogs, like cradling the dog, singing it to the dog. And, you know, it just turned into a really important thing for the both of them. And so then I started writing a couple more songs, and then COVID happened, 2020 COVID happened, and I had to figure out what to do with my small students, my like 4, 5, 6-year-old students online, because in the studio, I've got tons of manipulatives for small students, but online, I don't have that. So I needed a way to keep them interested and engaged. And I had a parent, an adult student come in and say, hey, I've got these story songbooks, you know, check this out. And I was like, oh my God, why am I not putting my little songs into children's books? Like, hello.
Mm-hmm.
So like probably the next day I contacted a local artist. He didn't know me and I didn't know him. I just been kind of following him around, and I sent him a Facebook message and I was like, I know you don't know me. I've got this idea. What do you think? And it must've been a good pitch, because he agreed almost that same day or shortly after that. And so I sent him the manuscript and he got to work, and that was in April of 2020. And December that holiday weekend, just before the New Year's, I contacted Fox, and that was, I had a mutual acquaintance of ours,
Mm-hmm.
Joanne, who's wrote, what is it, The Late Side of Midnight?
Yep.
And her newest one is It Just You? Yeah. Yeah, so her grandson took lessons from me for a while, and I saw that she had this book coming out, and I was ready to look for publishers. And so I just on a whim, I sent her a message like, hey, I got this book I'm working on. I'm ready to look for a publisher. I don't know what I'm doing. You got any tips for me? And I sent it to her so she could look at it. And she's like, wow, yeah, let me talk to my publisher. And so she immediately sent Kiersten a message. And then Kiersten was like, shoot it over to blah, blah, blah. So that next day, that's what I did. I spent an hour and a half or so coming up with my, as Kiersten says, the elevator pitch.
Yes. Yeah.
30-second elevator pitch.
Yep.
And by the end of that day, I got a message back. Was it from you, Kiersten?
I have no idea. That was like a long time ago.
It seems like
2
it
months
now,
ago.
right?
Yeah.
But anyway, it was either Kiersten or Chelsea, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. And so the contract was signed. That was a Wednesday. Contract was signed either Saturday or Sunday, just before, or was it New Year's Day? It was either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day.
You were December 31st, and then John Levinek came in on January 1st. So
Okay.
yeah, you guys are our New Year's Eve baby authors.
Woo, woo. So that was it. And now it's like a whirlwind, like everything started happening really fast, and it's exciting. And I'm on schedule. My next book will be coming out in November, and I've got currently 3 others. Excuse me. These things take time. And my illustrator is extremely busy. So, we can only do what we can do. But I'm on a mission. I want to create a whole series of books to assist families in their communications, essentially. Like, how do you, the things that we're afraid to tell or share, how do we share them? And how do we support the people that we love and be present in their listening? Like, I wish I would have had something like Give a Little Snuggle when my kids were babies, because I didn't know what I was doing. So it's like a tool. And it even has in the beginning, it has a little write-up about why it's important, why physical touch is important for your kiddos. It's really important. I'm sure you guys were aware, when they talk about those kids that were detained by ICE, and they were not allowed to be touched, period. Not even by their siblings in there. I just can't imagine. Like, that has to be the most cruel thing, period, end of discussion.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm interested in work that helps not just children, but families connect, because parents need just as much support as children do, because we don't know what we're doing, No. So any help that we can get along the way is great. I mean, we're talking about the next generation. And if we have children that feel loved and supported, they will grow up to be successful adults that know how to give back and contribute.
That's true.
So that's my thing.
That's her story, and she's sticking to it. And I'm not going to say, put it this way. In the future, Regina is, she's probably already been in the spotlight for the fact that she does vocal coaching and music and all that other good fun stuff. But mark my word, within 5 years, she's got a whole nother thing that this is going into. But I'm not going to say a whole lot about that. And we got questions. Okay, well, before we get on to questions, though, we're going to have Kayla and AJ hop on, and they're going to banter back and forth about the next project that AJ's got coming up, because Kayla has already told AJ that she had better hop on it, and something is due on Kayla's inbox by tomorrow morning. Yeah,
Tomorrow morning. That's okay. I have it already on my computer. What?
Tomorrow morning, they might have to go right now.
Well, yeah.
But AJ's got her third in the Bobby Bear series coming out. So Bobby Bear graduates from kindergarten, and that needs to be done in that whole May-June department. And that is why Kayla's hanging out for a mental break at the Mall of America right now before she hops onto the next thing. So you guys,
that would be because there's more bear species in this book than there have been in the others. There's in the second book, there was a black bear. There's a black bear family and a brown bear family. And now there's going to be an Asiatic brown bear and other types of bears that I need to get some communication with Kayla, my illustrator.
Yeah, I got to make sure I know what you want.
Indeed. Well, I can send you what are factual facts about the different genres, and I let you come up with see, that's a brown bear.
Ah.
Lincoln is a black bear.
All right.
Yep.
What kind of bear is that?
It
That's not a bear.
depends on where you're from, what you call it.
Let me find Lincoln. There's Lincoln.
Yep, they're besties.
There you go.
Yes,
Oh, there's Grampy.
Grampy, yeah, he's a cool dude.
Well,
Yes.
he eats earthworms.
He does, he eats worms. And yeah. Bobby Bear is not good.
I just think Kayla's done such a beautiful job putting this book, all of these books together.
Yes.
Matter of fact, almost a year ago when we found Kayla, on a whim, I mean, she had a portfolio and everything looked great and whatever. I'm like, what can you do about a father and son bear fishing off the end of a dock? And as soon as we saw that, both Chelsea and I are like, I think we found Bobby Bear. Showed it to AJ. We're like, we found Bobby Bear. And so it's
yes,
like, you're on. And Bobby
absolutely.
Bear's a 10 book. No, you said 11 book.
Yeah, I made it 11. Sorry,
Okay.
Kayla.
AJ.
No, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I was watching Nadia's
He's gotta
interview.
grow up.
Well, I was watching Nadia's interview yesterday, and you're like, oh, it's an 11 book. I'm like, it is? Okay. All right. So the first question is from Dan Johnson. Lydia, what are you working on now?
Right now, I'm finishing editing the historical fiction book, and that should, like Kiersten said, should be out soon. I have a third book in the Thad Wheeler series already has gone through one edit, but we kind of held back to get the others cleared out. So now I'm working on the fourth book. It didn't take me that long to come up with a subject for this one. But at some point I saw Kiersten said there was going to be a fifth book, which I didn't know about.
Oh, well, I thought you told me I'm sorry. Okay,
Well, so I do. I have a portfolio sitting next to my chair, and something will strike me, and I write down a title because sometimes I'm different. I start with a title and then write the book after I've got the title.
Yep.
So I really have been kind of racking my brain for a fifth subject, and then it came to me the other day that I might have a possibility.
Okay.
But I also considered starting a new series, a new main character. But I don't know. I think maybe Kiersten's the only one knows that. I told her that my teacher in writing this kind of cozy mystery or in mystery books was Murder, She Wrote. I'd stay up late at night and watch that because they had to get actually, some problem, some death, and solve it all in an hour.
Yep.
But my newest teacher is British mysteries.
Okay.
Detective mysteries. They do not carry, I would call them cozy mysteries too. They do not carry guns. They don't go in guns, blazing. There are times when somebody will be shot, but you don't see it. And that's Anne Cleves. So she's my new teacher.
Okay. And
I plan to continue in the cozy mystery series.
We'll have to see what a picture of Anne Cleves. Okay, the reason I say the picture thing is if you look on foxpointepublishing.com, so FOXPOINTE publishing.com, and you click on professionals, you will see Lydia Emma's picture, and we call that the Angela Lansbury look. She's laughing. She knows what I'm talking about. So
the J.B. Fletcher look from
okay.
The J.B. Fletcher look.
Okay, I call it the Angela Lansbury. Okay, so all right. Well, and it's a wonderful picture, and so there you go. And Hannah Rochholz and Austin did a lovely job. What?
I grew up with watching Murder, She Wrote because that's what my grandma watched. And I
Okay.
was raised by her till I was like 4. So at nap time, we would lay down and watch Murder, She Wrote and Perry Mason. So I think that's just awesome. That's good stuff right there. Like, I'm a fan right now.
Well, you would enjoy Harriet's, or sorry, gosh, I'm sorry, Lydia Emma's, let's just say, the brain left a long time ago, but you would enjoy her books. As a matter of fact, I'm interested in reading your YA books, your middle grade readers, like the Cherry Hill and stuff. Summer's Attic.
I've got an idea for them, and I want to talk to you about that sometime.
Okay. I just think it would be, and really that they're small enough that I could bam through it before, I'm like squirrel and run off in another direction. All right. So Zach, I was going to ask you, because you like to write as well. What are you working on now, or what would you like to be working on, or what should you be working on if you have like lots of free time and not college classes?
Well, I know that for a couple of the classes I'm in right now, I'm studying absurdist playwriting. And so another thing, I'm a communication studies double major as well. And whenever I get the opportunity to have a paper in the format of a conversation or a show, they'll tell me, it's around 5 to 6 pages, and I'll always go to 13. But I know that absurdism isn't technically the best method of delivering theory regarding communication studies. So I actually do mystery as well. I even had one where we had to write about theory regarding media regulation and impact on society and politics. And I had to take place at Mark Zuckerberg's isolated lake cabin up in the woods. So absurdism preferably, but if not, mystery is always a good path to go.
Yeah. And he actually, Lydia, I'm a lot like you, where I come up with a title and then I'm like, ooh, that would be a good story. So I have like, a gazillion titles. I just have to match stories to it. But back in August of 2005, I wrote my very first book, which is the I Do book, humorous memoir of my 15 plus years in the bridal industry. And after I put that one out, I came up with another idea. And so this idea has been hanging around for 15 and a half years. And actually a few years ago, Zach was really getting into the whole writing thing of things. For those of you who don't know, Zach is one of my kids. He was getting into the whole writing thing, and he had known about this story since 2005 when he was like 5 years old. And not going to say a whole lot about it, but it's very involved is about the best way of putting it. And it would actually be great for like a TV series kind of thing. So I said, fine, you want to do it? Go for it. So he's got all of that. So in his spare time, he occasionally writes the whole, the script for this book, because to put it into book form would be like just mind blowing. I don't know if I could really even do it, but in a script would work really well. So that's maybe in the future, we'll see something from him. Okay, we have another question here. Okay. Oh, Dan also wrote, okay, so asking all of us, well, all of me, how hard is it to get an editor for your writing? Well, my first child, Chelsea, who is the co-publisher of Fox Pointe Publishing, let me back it up. My mom used to be a copy editor for military contracts. So she knows super duper secret stuff, much like AJ, and she cannot tell you or she will have to kill you. So I don't know any of it because I'm still here. And my mom, though, she was the editor, the grammar Nazi, the whole routine, and she taught me how to write and the editing and the grammar, the whole routine. Okay. But my daughter, who I taught all my kids to write, but my daughter has taken it to the extreme. Probably all of them, but Chelsea especially has taken it to the extreme, steroid level 13, how to edit something. Oh my God. And she's good at it. She's stealthy, good at it. So she's my editor. And the interesting part is when Chelsea does editing for me, I have to remember that I am paying her as an editor, because sometimes she comes back at me and she has something not nice to say or snarky. And I want to so much say, look, kid, who brought you on this planet? You know, I brought you in, I can take you out. But I have to then remember that, you know, and in reality, I would much rather have her tear it apart and eviscerate it than to put something out in the market and have, you know, 2 million people come at me. That would be bad. So if my feelings are hurt with one person, I would much rather have it one person than 2 million people. But yeah, she's my editor, and she doesn't do a whole lot of first run editing. She's more of a project manager now. We have various editors. Matter of fact, so many that I'm starting to lose track of everyone. I mean, I know their names, but we would be here for a while. But yeah, so she heads up the editing department. Anyway, and as for anyone that goes through Fox Pointe, they, like I said, go through the whole gauntlet of all the different editing, developmental, concept, proofreading, line editing, copy editing. There is a lot to it. So, okay. Christy wrote, what was your main drive to write? What was your main drive to write? What inspiration do you pull from when you go to write? AJ, you're up.
Wait, repeat the question.
Sorry, there's like 2 or 3 questions. Okay, so what was your main drive to write? What inspiration do you pull from when you go to write?
Well, my main drive to write is I've been doing it since I was 6 years old, and I don't think I can survive and not write. It's just part of who I am. And as far as inspiration, every person I meet is inspiration, so just be forewarned. You may not find your name, but you might find something you did or said or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, and I've always told everyone they each have a book in them. They just have to put it on paper. And I know an editor.
Well, there you go. Yeah, and she's vicious, so it's great. Kayla, what started you illustrating, and what do you pull from to continue illustrating?
I've just always been passionate about art and drawing and trying to keep it as a part of my life. And I've always wanted to have a career in an art field, whatever that may be. And so when I saw your post, I took the opportunity, and I love it.
Well, thank you. And we are so darn lucky, I will point. And for anyone out there who's watching and you work at Pixar, I'm just going to point out that Kayla would love to come work at your company, but please don't take her, or at least let her have weekends off so she can continue the Bobby Bear series. And all of our other,
that's a lot more books, Kayla.
Yeah.
and all of the other books, Helen's books, my books, etc. But anyway, Russell asked, how many Bobby books will there be? There are apparently 11. I thought there were 10, but
Sorry, I added an extra one at the end.
AJ sprung it on us. Oh well, so 11 now.
It follows him as he grows older.
Okay. And then Regina, back to the 2-part question. What was your main drive to write, and what inspiration do you pull from when you go to write?
Oh, you know, I've thought a lot about like all of this, because when I first joined on, I was like, well, I'm not an author. I didn't set out to do that with my life. And there was a question, when did you start writing or something like that?
Yeah.
And when I thought about it, I was like, well, I started when I was like 8, journaling, you know, and talking about my feelings, because I lived in a group home, and that was what they taught us. You know, we got counseling and la. And so when you're 8, it was maybe we were drawing about your feelings, some art therapy, you know, and then later writing. And so I just always kept that as part of my life, always. And so I think what inspires me is, you know, I work with teaching is like, I'm teaching music, but I'm teaching people. And in music, you know, it's so emotional. So I do a large amount of coaching in my teaching. And then I've got, you know, my coaching clients, my life coaching clients too. So what inspires me most is just really being invested in people and people choosing a life of happiness. And how do we do that? And how do we support each other? And at the same time, getting that it's okay to have different feelings and fears. And, you know, the most important thing is to be expressive about that. How do we communicate what's up for us? Because nobody's a mind reader, right? So I think that's just what inspires me. And let's see, you know, I hadn't thought about it, but my grandpa was a journalist. And my brother was a poet. And, you know, they're both gone now. But I guess it's kind of just, it must be in my blood a little bit. And I just hadn't really thought about it, because that's not what I set out to do with my life. So what inspires me is having a larger impact, you know, and I think I've tried different ways to do that in my life. And I know I make an impact in my teaching. You know, I've got people stay with me for several years, but I would like to have a larger impact. So I think I found the thing that's going to help me do that. And I think it just might be writing.
Plus you write words and you write music. So there
yes. Well, and that, you know, Mr. Rogers, everything was in a song, because that's how like kids can tag on to that. And I keep everything poetic. It's just another tool that kids can tag on to and parents can use in assisting their kids in educating about communicating and feelings and, you know, how to do life. So, yeah.
Okay.
Was there another part of that question, or did I get it?
No, I think you got it. Now
Okay.
I'm gonna, good job. Now I'm gonna pick on Zach. What is your main drive? Where did he go? Oh my God. He disappeared. There you are. What are you doing? All right. What?
I was gonna say the 1 second I go to fidget with my chair height is be
It's
like,
the one time I asked.
and
Okay.
now Zach's spotlight.
Yeah. All right, Zach, what is your main drive to write, and what inspiration do you pull from when you go to write?
What drives me to write?
Besides an assignment that's due the next day.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, even what draws me to, you know, my options to write and the times I'm able to write instead. I love sci-fi. It was kind of something that my family and friends had thrown at me when I was young. And of course, my little 8-year-old brain watching a sci-fi film and having my mind blown by this crazy idea or notion being thrown out there. I just really, it's a sort of a feeling that I always want to chase. Like there's this new concept introduced from a story that changes the way that reality could be seen. And of course, I understand that like with more age in the different writing styles, there are ways to blow people's minds about reality while not being strictly sci-fi. So I suppose that's kind of where I draw my inspiration as well, is just kind of thinking, how can I write this in a way that might get people to think differently about a reality?
Okay, good question. Good answer. All right, now you can adjust your chair height. And no. All right, Lydia, where do you pull your inspiration from, and what is your main drive to write?
Well, the drive to write became serious when my second child, our oldest son, taught himself to read before he went to school. My daughter had two, my oldest. And he came home one day just ranting and raving. I don't want to read Pippi Longstockings. There weren't very many books for boys with boys characters. So early on, my books did. Of course, he's never read any of them, and he's got kids that are older than what would read them now anyway. But that's how I got started. What I choose is things that I've seen that have bothered kids, like the boy who's thinks his parents are getting divorced, you know, that kind of thing. And I do it, but the fun ones I write have a lot of humor. I like to laugh. I like to have humor. I like to have good, happy endings in my books. I have one book called The Tale of a Seventh Grade Dog. It is not about a dog. It is based on this same son who loved to act at when he was in Ellis Junior High here in Austin, and he could do dialects. And he got a part in a play because he could do a German dialect. My husband and I were traveling in Germany when we gave him permission to try out for this play. We didn't know until we got home that he got the part, and it was the part of a woman camp counselor. It was hilarious. The whole play was hilarious. But so the book is based on a boy who gets a part in a play, and he's got to bark like a dog. And he has to learn how to bark. And it's, you know, it's, and a lot of the books too at that are a lot of the first interaction between boys and girls, recognizing, oh, there's, you know, the girls, those girls are pretty cute, or those guys are, you know, that's at that first kind of recognition of the other sex, you know, and they're in that, I don't know how early it is now, but, you know, I was thinking it would be like 5th or 6th grade, but, you know, I'm sure it's a lot sooner than that, but that addresses some of them. So I have this range of very serious, like the cancer book, all the way to the fun one, a kid going to the camp for the first time and getting picked on, and what he does to get even and stuff like that. So it's a range, but it's again, I want to entertain. That's my goal. I want something for people to smile about, feel good about, have a happy ending. You know, even the Sand Dancer, shouldn't give it away, but you know, it's got a happy ending.
Well, good. All right, for me, the question, hold on, my phone. The question, what is my main drive to write and what inspiration? I have been writing since a long time. In 3rd grade, I started all the children's books, like, you know, Where the Wild Things Are and all the Dr. Seuss books and that kind of stuff. I turned all of those into scripts. And I made starting in 3rd grade, my 3rd grade teacher, we assigned roles, and I was assertive back then in 3rd grade, and still am for that matter. Had my teacher, our class put on a play for the elementary school. And I'm sure when the 4th grade teacher, you know, they probably drew the shortest straw, and they're like, oh my gosh, we have Kiersten in our class. I hope she doesn't pull that. Sure enough, in 4th grade, I wrote another play. And we had a play for the students in the old gym, which also was our cafeteria. In 5th grade and 6th grade, I'm sure that the elementary school teachers were happy to see me. Okay, bye-bye now. Please don't come back. And I have to write because it bothers me. It's one more thing that isn't done, and it keeps me up at night, is basically. So if I don't do it, there you go. All right, so we are coming up on an hour here. We could all ramble on because we're authors, and that's what we do. We ramble. And I wonder if Kayla, do you think you'll ever write a book, illustrate and write a book? You've got to have ideas.
I'm not the greatest at writing.
Well,
I'm really not.
Or throw out an idea and do a ghost. I mean, you got Willow, you know, I bet she gives different ideas.
I don't know.
No?
I mean,
We have good editors.
Well, yeah. But
Just saying.
maybe I'll have to write a story about AJ.
Oh boy, AJ is like, oh wait, what have I ever said to her? Oh my God. All right, well, okay, so let's see. Dan is gonna get the sand dancer. And so I will get a hold of you on Facebook. I know who you are. I will find you and get your your mailing address, get that out to you. Christy actually has all of our books. She is our personal assistant that gets us out to like 600 plus literary groups on social media, like darn close to every day. So she does Fox Pointe very well. She gets her name out there in the world. And so, and then I will see from Russell if he wants Bobby Bear, Big Brother, probably going with that one. I don't think he's got this one yet. And Russell is actually Kayla's dad. So he's doing the whole collecting.
He needs book 2.
Oh, okay. Well, then Russell's going to get Bobby Bear Becomes a Big Brother. And anyway, so I thank you for joining us this evening. Again, you can find us, well, you're on the Facebook group page. So if you're watching it, you're on the right group page. The website is foxpointepublishing.com. It's FOXPOINTE publishing.com, because, you know, we have to be fancy. We put out a book every 7 to 10 days. And we right now have, I think, 32 active titles, and we have 18 more coming in about the next 3 months. So about July 4th, we should have 51 active titles. So, you know, it's always a party around here. We these Facebook Live Box Talk things, we do that the 2nd and the 4th Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. Central Standard on this Facebook group. And we also do this at either 10 or 11 a.m. on the last Saturday. Just watch the Facebook group. You'll see it pop up, the announcement. And then I think that's about it. Zach, talking about dialects and accents and stuff. Zach, do you want to have Colonel Pickering of the My Fair Lady take us out?
I haven't done Colonel Pickering in 3 years, but I'd like to thank you all for tuning into the show, and we hope to see you next time.
See you guys later. Bye.